Dear learners, my name is Mohammad Mohibul Haq. I am professor in the Department of Political Science at Aligarh Muslim University. I have been teaching human rights, political science, foreign policy and international relations for last many years in Aligarh Muslim University. The course that I am going to introduce here under MOOC is Understanding Human Rights. Before I discuss the topics that we are going to have under this particular course, let me first of all make you understand why this course is important for us. As you all know that it is said that we are living in the era of human rights. And if we are living in the era of human rights, then it is incumbent upon all of us to know what are our rights. You will find in the newspapers, in the magazines, in the academia, or everywhere you will find some kind of a discussion on the violations or the protections of human rights. Human rights are basically legitimate claims of all human beings, and all human beings have human rights by virtue of being human. It means that just being human is enough to claim certain rights, and these claims are legitimate, which have been accepted at the international level. So you will also find that there is already an international protection of human rights, as well as all the states, they have also provided protection to citizens against the violation of human rights. So in this course, we are going to discuss meaning, definition, nature, significance, and classification of human rights. First of all, what are human rights? What do you mean by human rights? What is the difference between license and human rights? Human rights doesn't mean that we have got a license to do whatever we want. And what are the reasonable restrictions that can be imposed upon human rights? And again, what is the nature of human rights? Whether all human rights are all human rights are universal, or human rights are culture specific. This kind of debate we will be having, and then we will discuss the significance of human rights for all the individuals living anywhere in the world. Why? Because it is said that violation of human rights anywhere in the world is a threat to violations of human rights. Is a threat to human rights everywhere in the world. So that we will discuss, and then after that we will discuss the evolution of the concept of human rights from Magna Carta to the International Bill of Rights. How human rights have evolved from Magna Carta of the 1215 to the International Bill of Rights adopted by the United Nations. First of all, in 1948, the UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, was adopted on 10 December 1948. And since then, we celebrate what is called International Human Rights Day everywhere on 10 December. And then in 1966, you will find two legally binding treaties on human rights were adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. And they are International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and then we have International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. Before that, we will also trace the origin of human rights in the Western tradition from Magna Carta, and then we will discuss the Glorious Revolution of England. Then we will discuss the American Bill of Rights, we will discuss the French Declaration of Rights and all. And after that, we will discuss the socialist revolutions like Bolshevik Revolution of Russia. What is the impact of socialism or socialist revolution or Marxism on the concept of human rights, and how the socio-economic rights were emphasized by them, and how the civil and political rights were emphasized by the what we call the revolution that are called liberal revolutions. Many people call it bourgeois revolutions. So all these we will discuss. Then after discussing the Western perspective of human rights, we will be having non-Western perspective of human rights. And under non-Western perspective of human rights, Hindu, Buddhist and Islamic perspectives of human rights will be dealt with. When you have a good understanding of the Western and non-perspective perspectives of human rights, for example, it is said that the Western tradition of human rights is rights-centered or right-centric, whereas the non-Western tradition is mostly duty-based tradition of human rights. But finally, we will find that we have to strike a balance between rights and duties, because rights and duties go together. So this kind of understanding we will develop, and after that we will discuss the theories of human rights. The theories of human rights are basically providing normative justification to the claims of rights. So under this we will discuss natural rights theory. As the natural rights theorists, they believe that human rights are natural. They are the gift of nature. They are not created by the state. And since they are natural, they cannot be taken away by the state or by society. Then we will discuss the legal rights theory, which says that the human rights that are recognized by the law, they are human rights. Otherwise, they will not be having any kind of effective implementation mechanism. So rights are to be recognized and implemented through laws. Then we'll discuss the historical rights theory, how human rights originated. Here, human rights is evolved, over centuries. So that we will discussing. Then we'll discuss the Marxist theory of human rights. And this theory of human rights is basically important. Why? Because it is emphasizing socio-economic and cultural rights, especially because the Marxist thinkers, they believe that in the absence of socio-economic rights, civil and political rights, they becomes hollow claim. So that is why we will discuss the Marxist theory of human rights. After that, we will be having basic concept to understand human rights, like first of all, liberty, its meaning and its dimension. For example, what is liberty? What is negative liberty? What is positive liberty? What are the different dimensions of liberty? For example, civil liberty. For example, you can say social liberty, political liberty, economic liberty. All these dimensions we will be discussing. Then equality, and again meaning and dimensions. After that, the third important concept to understand human rights is justice, meaning, and dimensions. It is said that without justice there cannot be peace, and if there is no peace, human rights cannot be enjoyed. After that, we will discuss the United Nations and human rights, UN Charter, UDHR, that is Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and what are the provisions of human rights in the UN Charter. Then the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the provisions, its implementation mechanism. Then International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, provisions and implementation mechanism. Then after that, we will be discussing regional arrangements of promotion and protection of human rights. The European Convention on Human Rights, the American Convention on Human Rights, and the African Charter of Human and People's Rights. So we will be discussing what are the human rights framework or the arrangements in these three continents in the world. After that, we will be having a discussion on contemporary discourse on human rights, and here you will find very important topics of your interest. For example, terrorism, counter-terrorism, and human rights. Terrorism itself is a global scourge and it's a violation of human rights. But unfortunately, you will find in the name of counter-terrorism also, states are violating human rights of their own citizens and sometimes the human rights of the citizens of other countries. For example, global war on terror, which has led to violation of human rights in the different parts of the world. After that, we will discuss arms race and human rights, how the possession, acquisition, and development of arms are threatening human rights of the people across the globe. Then these days we are talking about the green rights or the environmental rights, so that we will be discussing. And in this, we will be discussing rights of sexual minorities, LGBTQ++. This is one of the minorities that you will find that did not attract the attention of the United Nations for long. But now you will find that the plight of the LGBTQ people or the plight of sexual minorities that has attracted the attention of the academia, the experts, the scholars and policymakers. And that's why a lot of debate is there on the rights of sexual minorities, rather heated debate. And you will find a kind of polarization, those who are supporting the rights of LGBTQ and those who are opposing the rights of LGBTQ. So we will discuss the rights of sexual minorities. Then we will move to our own country, that is India and human rights. And under this, we will find what is India's international obligations of human rights, what are the international treaties that India has signed, then the constitutional framework of human rights, fundamental rights and directive principle of state policy, fundamental duties and institutional mechanism for the protection and promotion of human rights. For example, National Human Rights Commission, for example, National Commission for Minorities, for example, National Commission for Women, National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, and National Backward Classes Commission, and then the Commissioner for people with disabilities. All these we will discuss here. After that, we will discuss the major issues of violations of human rights in India, uh, and these issues are going to be dealt with under the status of minorities. For example, whether it is rightly said that if the minorities do not enjoy their rights in a country that country cannot successfully claim to be civilized. So we will try to understand or analyze what is the status of minorities in India, what is the status of women, for example. It is one of the vulnerable groups in the country, and the discrimination against women starts right from the womb of the mother. You see that female feticide, female infanticide, and then bride burning, domestic violence, what not, sexual harassment at workplace, all these are the issues that we are going to discuss. Then the rights of Dalits, the former untouchables, those who are denied opportunities or equal opportunity for centuries. Now you will find after the enforcement of the constitution in the country, what is their status after 76 years of independence. Uh, and why they are still facing a lot of challenges in the country, that we will try to understand. And then the rights and the interest of the scheduled tribes in the country, the struggle for jal, jungle, jameen, etc. And then you'll find that how the scheduled people from the scheduled tribes in many pockets, especially Adivasis, are feeling that they are becoming the victims of development. And if they are becoming the victims of development, and they are being displaced from their natural habitat where they have been living for centuries, and how because of the developmental activities, mining, etc., what is happening, that the ecosystem that they have maintained for centuries is being disturbed. Their flora and fauna that was maintained, or the water resources, everything is getting contaminated. uh, so all these things, what are the challenges, what are the issues they are highlighting? In the light of this, we will try to conclude our course on human rights. I hope this course is going to be interesting for you, because it is going to discuss the issue that that affects all of us in one way or the other. So that is why, this is the reason that I say that this is not only a course which is going to be taught to you, but this is a course which also aims to sensitize all the learners about our rights, about our responsibilities, about our duties, and also about the rights of others. So after completing this course, this course is quite useful for you to go to foreign countries for pursuing your masters in human rights, LLM in human rights. You can also join United Nations human rights organizations and other international human rights organizations. You can also join the commissions in your own country, or the state commissions, after completing. Then there are various NGOs, non-governmental organizations, they are also working in the field of human rights. So that avenues open when you are going to complete this course. Besides that, you will find all the students who are pursuing human rights, if they are studying this course, this is going to be quite useful for you for the competitive examination as well. So now, with this, I am going to conclude my discussion on the introduction of the paper that I have introduced, and I will request, I will motivate you all to take this course, and I hope that this course is going to be quite useful for you, and it is going to be a good experience for all of you. I wish you all a glorious future. Thank you very much.